Hey, I'm Nolan Stoltz, composer of the Route 66 Suite, and I'd like to share some information about the overlooked Route 66 town of Brooklyn, Illinois, aka Lovejoy, Illinois. I've looked at 4 different map websites. It's not listed. I looked in several Route 66 in Illinois books, not mentioned. Encyclopedia, not mentioned. The Easy Guide, not mentioned. Nowhere in the Route 66 literature that I have found even mentions Brooklyn, Illinois. But let's take you there. All right, this is a 1935 map of Brooklyn. This is on the east side of the river, so we're opposite St. Louis. It's north of East St. Louis, but south of Venice. Notice on this map from the Route66.com that not only is the alignment missing, but there's no entry for Brooklyn either. Stefan's page at stjo66.de has the alignment, but doesn't have Brooklyn. Route66map.com overlays over Google Maps so you can see it, but the alignment is actually drawn incorrectly. JimRoss66.com has this alignment drawn, but it does not have Brooklyn labeled, but it does have Venice, Madison, and Granite City labeled. The Easy Guide mentions Venice to East St. Louis. Brooklyn is in between those two cities. On this map, you see Venice and East St. Louis. Brooklyn is right there. I began my 13-month trek along Route 66 in East St. Louis, and my second stop was Brooklyn. I wanted to find out why this town is not mentioned in any of the Route 66 literature. And the thing that struck me right away was this mural informing me that this was the first black town. So I looked it up, and turns out this is a really historically important town, a must-see. And then a few weeks later, while I was on my way to LA, some news stories came out about this church in Brooklyn being a confirmed stop on the Underground Railroad. So I had to return to see it. And that stop on the Underground Railroad, turns out it's this church across the street from that mural, just mere feet from Route 66. This is Route 66 right here. Looking west from that same spot, this is Route 66, Madison Street. Now, as a composer, I'm looking for musical connections, so we have on Madison Street this recording studio. Perhaps the most important musical connection that Brooklyn has is blues musician Albert King. He moved here in the 1950s and was performing blues musician in St. Louis and on the east side of the river as well, but he lived here in Lovejoy, or Brooklyn, and he named his 1971 album Lovejoy. So let's take a little drive into Brooklyn. We are leaving Venice, Illinois. We go under the railroad tracks and enter Brooklyn. Now notice Illinois State Highway 3 goes off to the right. That was the mistake found in this map here. As you can see in this 1935 map, it kept going straight and then turned right. returning to the Albert King album Lovejoy, we're looking at the back of the album sleeve. If that was indeed Lovejoy or Brooklyn, I wonder if it was this scene here, 2nd Street, Illinois 3, but looking the opposite way. If you notice, the power lines are on the opposite side of the street, or maybe this was just some other street scene and they just put the sign there to say Lovejoy. I really don't know. I'd like to know more about this picture, actually. This is an old aerial photograph, but it's really blurry. It's not really helpful. So that pretty much ends our tour of Brooklyn. I want to learn more about the place, so I'll keep looking things up. But if you want to see more videos about things that are inspiring the Route 66 suite, subscribe to my Patreon at patreon.com/Route66suite. Thanks.